commissioner's exit.
Stop.
Yes.
It was not an exit.
Okay.
It was his retirement. So when you use the word exit, it has a very negative connotation. So before we start, let's start on the hold on. Let's start on the right footing. The police. One second.
Trying to use the most neutral term.
1 second. The police commissioner retired after 32 years service to his community. He tendered his retirement documents, and they were accepted by His Excellency the Governor.
Okay, Minister. In light of the fact that you have gone public about your motivation for entering public service as a
Yes.
MP,
Yes.
was the pepper spraying incident,
Yes.
December 2nd.
Yes.
What year was it? 2016, was it? Yeah. And your disappointment
Yes.
in the Police Complaints Authority report into those incidents. You know, I recall you saying that accountability had not yet been achieved.
I didn't say that, but please proceed.
Well, can you
didn't
remind
say-
us what you said?
I didn't say that, but continue.
Sorry, my recollection is that you were
Let
calling.
me say this. Let me say this. I am the Minister of National Security for the country of Bermuda. My responsibility is to exercise my duty without fear or favor. I believe that the December 2nd incident was a tragedy. I believe that as a country, we must deal with it and we must move on. To continue to go down the road and segmenting the public from the Bermuda Police Service, it is a nonsense. Why? Because if you have a robbery at your home, if you have an incident that requires assistance, who will you call? You will call the Bermuda Police Service. That does not mean that people should not be held accountable. That does not mean that I do not support the Bermuda Police Service. That does not mean that I do not believe in the leadership of this police commissioner. There was an incident that has been looked into by a special select committee of the Bermuda parliamentary group. We believe that after they look into this incident, they will put their findings in the public sphere. I believe as the minister responsible, though, I have to see and be vigilant in the overarching theme. I don't just have the responsibility for the police. It is for customs. It is for fire. And we have to be able to look at this broad. That doesn't mean that doesn't state or that doesn't negate the fact that I do not share disappointment with how the incident was handled on the day. I believe there are learning curves. I believe that there has been more training. The senior command on that day have received more training. I believe if this incident were to take place again, God forbid, that there have been learnings that people will develop from that incident. But I don't want you to leave this room with the misnotion that because I was disappointed, if not aggrieved by what took place on that day, that I do not believe in the police service and I do not believe that I can lead effectively to make this country a better place.
Right. Can I finish my question now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not going to wait all day to get to
your
the point.
answers short, we won't be. Well, I guess my basic question is this. In light of your disappointment and the fact that there doesn't seem as yet to have been any accountability for what was clearly a failure by the police, the fact that Mr. Police Commissioner is retiring, as he says, at 50 years old, which is kind of early as far as police commissioners go. Did you at any point in your discussions with the governor and the senior officers, do you express any suggestion that he should probably leave earlier than his retirement?
I did not, and our discussions are sacrosanct, so I won't go into those discussions briefly. But let me deal with something that you said head on.
You never asked for his resignation.
I did not ask for his resignation. Let me deal with.
Was that just a Freudian slip then when you almost misspoke and said he resigned just a few minutes ago?
So if we're gonna do this,
No, I'm just asking, was that just...
if we're going to do this, I'm not going to play games with you on any level. So I'll be crystal clear for the avoidance of doubt. The police commissioner has my full support. There were things that took place on December 2nd that deeply concerned me, that bothered me to the essence of my being. One of the reasons why I became a member of government is so I can be an agent of change. I believe a key component in my leadership is to work with the Bermuda Police Service, with policy, with planning, with the opportunity with succession planning, to make sure that the service receives balance. Directly after this meeting, I'm meeting with the People's Campaign, and the People's Campaign want to meet with me and the Premier because they are dissatisfied with what has transpired along this road to dealing with this incident, and I understand that. Bob Marley said, "He who feels it knows it." I understand that in this country there is systematic racism. I understand in this country that through the Truman Report and through a number of reports, reading the book The Island Flame, I understand the tumultuous history that we have in our country. I understand the problems that the working man have with how they were handled on that day. That is not lost on me. I understand what the average working man feels about the Bermuda Police Service and some things that they have to work on. I want to be a part of that agent that allows the service to change, not to skirt past it, but to develop systems, procedures, succession planning, to help make the service a better service.
Do you think the service leadership understands what you understand in terms of the structural racism even within the police force?
Let me say this. There are 427 officers in the Bermuda Police Service. I can tell you that I don't want your focus to be so narrow on the Bermuda Police Service. There are systemic problems of racism in our country that are not indicative or led to one element or echelon of persons. I believe that the Bermuda Police Service has developing points when it comes to dealing with the infrastructure that they have as police officers, being in our community, policing in neighborhoods where there are vulnerable people. I believe that this is a work in progress. Again, my role as a Minister of National Security is a specific role. My responsibility is not just to put a finger in the proverbial dike or to tear down the organization. I, as a Minister of National Security, have to work within the system and within my country to make our country a stronger and a better place, and that includes the Bermuda Police Service.
Are you confident the leadership, is my question, understands systemic racism, for example, and is there a plan to deal with it?
I will go back because I'm trying to help you as a professional to develop and to understand this. As a journalist, this is a structure that wasn't built overnight. There are certain elements in our country that have struggled with race and the follow-on effects for a number of years. This cannot escape the Bermuda Police Service. There is a responsibility for every individual in our country to face it, to deal with it, and try to make our country a better place. You're not going to box me in to the Bermuda Police Service. I have to confront my bias. I have to confront things in my life that make me not to be a balanced member of our society, and that must be pushed into the white community, that must be pushed into the black community. The Bermuda Police Service has an element of the service that can be developed and that can be advanced into harmonious development of living with all segments of our community. I cannot, however, allow you to myopically narrow down this to the Bermuda Police Service because it's unfair to our country. We need to make changes in every part of our society, including the Bermuda Police Service.